actually playing music. It's stage 2 of the artist's life cycle, and it plays a huge role in developing you as a music artist. Why? Because it grows both your ability and your audience. So what does this mean for you trying to make music you're living? Let's talk about it. Hey, I'm Craig from the Dot of That Studio, and I'm talking to musicians who want to become artists. Musicians who want to have a real go at doing music for a living, and to do that independently and without a huge budget. So welcome. Today we're looking at episode 4, playing music, actually playing music. I hope you've had a good week. I've just had some great artistry this week. It's just been fun to get back into recording. I'm back into the swing of it for this year, and it's been really, really good. So, like I said, today we're looking at playing music. It seems pretty self-explanatory. Like, obviously, this is something that we're doing as music artists, but I want to unpack a few things that might just help you to, be encouraged, maybe go to the next level, maybe step out a bit more, something like that. Because playing music really does go a long way in developing us as artists. And it's stage 2. So once we've come up with vision and branding, we know where we're walking, we want to actually start playing music, and then we'll songwrite, then we'll record, then we'll promote. So that's a life cycle. So maybe some things that you're feeling around playing music, maybe it's a struggle for you because you don't feel like you're good enough yet. Maybe you're still putting in your practice at home and you haven't been able to unlock actually getting on stage and playing in front of people. Maybe that's a bit of a barrier for you. Maybe you're just sick of playing your songs. Maybe you've had an album out for a couple of years and you're just sick of playing your songs. You're sick of doing shows. You're sick of turning up early, something like that. Maybe I'm speaking to you today. Maybe you just need a refresh and just get back on the stage and play music and play your songs. Or maybe you've been doing it for ages and you just feel like you're not improving. It's just not working for you. You've been playing for ages. You're just not getting any better. So we're going to kind of have a look at all this stuff. We're going to do that in 3 points, basically. We're going to look at taking action, we're going to look at developing your sound and your craft, and then we're going to look at connecting your audience. So the first thing is getting up and playing music is actually putting the ball into play. It's actually getting the wheels in motion, whatever analogy you want to put in for starting. You've got to actually start, and playing music is the place that you start. So this looks different for everybody. If you're the brand new musician and you want to get a band, maybe this just looks like jamming, finding a guitarist, a drummer, whatever it is, and just getting in a room and playing your music. So this is going to help you start to define your sound, figure out what sort of artist you are, figure out your vocal range, all that sort of stuff, just by playing music. But until you kind of do this, you're not going to be able to progress to the next levels, songwriting, recording, promotion. You can have all the vision and branding in the world, but unless you start playing music, you're not going to be able to move forward. So it could be jamming. It could be maybe you're a solo artist. You just need to book that gig and get in and play in front of some people. You need to get on stage and play in front of some people. Something interesting to think about is how many ideas have you had that you never started that are now super successful and worked out? In fact, not just you. How many ideas do you think anybody in the world haven't instigated it, and now it's a successful thing? The answer is 0. There's got to be a point where you start and you actually play the music. So I hope I'm speaking to somebody today that just needs to take action, and it's super difficult. I know for me, I play a lot of music here in the studio, and people ask me all the time, you should be gigging. I got invited just recently to play at a venue, and I'm like, I'm a bit nervous to do it, to be honest. I like the studio. I like the comforts of the studio, and it's a bit of a struggle for me. So maybe you're in that same boat where you need to get over the line. But playing music is really important if you want to build your artistry, if you want to kind of move forward. The second main point we need to be playing music is just to develop our craft, to develop our sound, and to get better. I wonder if you can remember, if you've been playing music for a while, can you remember the first time that you actually got on stage? Imagine if there was footage of that and you could look back at you fumbling through your set at your first ever performance, your first ever show. Could you imagine seeing that back? I'd imagine it'd be pretty confronting and maybe a bit of fun, maybe a bit of a laugh there. But what I'm kind of saying is that confidence grows from doing it. So the difference between now and then is probably your ability, yeah, but I'd imagine it's just your confidence. You know what it's about. You can get up and do it. So if you're starting out, there's going to be a point where you're not very confident, but the only way that you can get confident is to do it. So it's pretty rare that somebody just jumps up for the first time and is confident about it and it just kind of nails it. And usually if someone does that, then they're probably a bit cocky and it probably wasn't that good. They just thought it was amazing. And you wouldn't be able to tell them otherwise. But we need to grow confidence, and we need to do that by actually just doing it. We need to do it to build that confidence. You might need to trudge through some awkward sets for a little while just to build that up. So the second thing is just getting better. You just need to play music to get better. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. One is just rehearsing. So maybe you're just in your bedroom and you just rehearse all the time, or maybe you've seen those freak musicians. Hey, he's just ripping the guitar, or he's got every little intricacy on the drums, or he can pick a million harmonies or whatever. You think, man, that guy must just lock himself in his bedroom every afternoon and just play. And we all know those musicians who have done that, just lock themselves in their room for 8 hours and they just play. I was one of those when I was a kid. This is funny. My mum, I think regrettably, for probably about 10 years, hooked me up with a drum kit. So I was bugging her, I was a kid, wanted to play drums. So she thought, oh, well, let's just get this phase out of the way. Her brother had a kit. My uncle had a kit. So she just borrowed that, thinking we'll just get this out of the way. I smashed those things so hard for so long every day. I would just get home from school, had like 5 or 6 tapes that I'd play through, Blink-182, MXPX. I'd just smash it every day. And I got really, really good at the drums as a teenager because of that, but just because I was playing it, I was doing it over and over, and I got good. Just like guitarists and anybody that just really devotes themselves and plays, they get better. So maybe that's where you're at today. If you just need to get the ball rolling, you think I'm not good enough, just play a lot and just get yourself devoted to it and get into it. The other thing is it helps you to prepare for the unexpected. So we talked about confidence before. If you're playing all the time, then you can kind of learn what works and what doesn't, and you can be prepared for it, right? So if you do you see those artists that will do a party and then they'll do the wedding ceremony, then they'll do the wedding, the reception. They might play over a dinner one time. So they'll kind of figure out, all right, this song works here, this song doesn't work here, I'll get the band in for this. You can kind of figure out and prepare for what is ahead of you just through playing it and figuring it out. A lot of this stuff you've got to figure out by doing it, and you don't know that until you actually make the mistake. You don't know that until you play that kind of upbeat song when everyone's kind of on the low and you get those looks and it's just awkward, or everyone's kind of there to dance and you pull out the song that just doesn't work for that environment. But you don't know that before you kind of do it. So just getting prepared and setting yourself up to know more about music and know more about audiences, know more about actually performing, is you just got to do it. It's experience. You got to get up and play. So it's a really important step, one that you can't really skip in the life cycle of a musician. If you skip playing, you're going to plateau, and it's not going to be too long before people think, man, this guy never practices. Nothing's new. I've been listening to him for however long, and it's all exactly the same. Nothing's moving forward. He's super awkward on stage, whatever it is. Or, I might be exaggerating a little bit there, but we have to be playing and developing if we want to move forward and go to the next place. So the third and probably most important point is that it actually connects with your audience. And that's what we're all about as artists. That's the difference between someone who's a musician and an artist, is that they've got a following. They've got an audience that takes them seriously and is crying out for their music. So if you never get up and play your music, you and your mum are going to have a great time enjoying your music. You're going to be a fantastic artist with an audience of 1, 2, or 3 people, and that's about it. It's actually getting in front of an audience that gives them a chance to connect with you and actually like you and buy into kind of what you're doing as an artist. It's really the only way to do it. You can just build that audience. So if you're just starting out and you just play in front of people, that's how you get more gigs, because the owner of the venue is going to say, oh, people like this guy. Let's get him again. He brings lots of people in the door. And that kind of grows and grows, and maybe you'll get, that's where you really grow your Instagram and following and stuff when you're starting out, is that they say, oh, who's that guy? You look him up, you like him. You can get a couple of thousand hits on Instagram before you even record anything, before you've got something tangible, just because your live shows, you're building connection, people like you. And because music's really emotional, there is some connection about it. And particularly that when people dive into the lyrics and what you're singing about, they can kind of resonate with them and they can feel what you're singing. And there's a really strong connection and kind of bond with that. So you just can't get that if you're not performing your music in front of an audience and playing it regularly to build that connection with the audience is really, really important. If you're going through this again, like if you've just released an album or your second album or something, this is really, really important. Playing music, playing your songs that you've already recorded. I don't know why, but some artists really struggle with this. They think, oh no, I need to play the covers. I'm not, because they're not confident with their own music or something. But if you've put music out there, people have it in their possession, and then you play it live, you're strengthening that bond and you're strengthening that connection. And that's what's going to build fans. Have you ever been to a show and you just hang out, and they always do it in the encore? They play your favorite song, but you're just hanging out for it the whole time because there's something magical about when you're in the same room as your favorite artist playing your favorite song. There's this magical connection. So what we don't see in that room then is that they've played that at the 16 venues before that, and they're probably sick of it. They were in the studio and they played it a million times. It's been written for ages and they're sick of it. So as an artist, we kind of go, nobody cares about that song, but it's only you that is feeling that. The artist, the audience, we're crying out for it. We want to hear your songs that we listen to in the car and that we love. But that's really, really difficult. But that's just such a great way to connect. Playing your songs that people know, play them live, play your original stuff live, and allow the audience to just connect with it and bond with you and just build that relationship. That's where you're going to start to see this sort of big growth, when you can have experiences and moments with people at live performances that match that recorded music that you've done. That's really, really vital. So look, that's basically it. You've got to be playing music. So the biggest takeaway is this, that playing regularly is going to grow you as an artist. It's going to grow your skill level, and it's going to grow your audience and the amount of people that you can reach and the depth of that connection you have with your audience. You're going to get that out of playing music. And I just want to promise you, if you're starting out, it does get easier. Your confidence does grow. You may have to do a few awkward sets, but you'll push through it. Every artist that you've seen that you love, they had to go through that stage where it was difficult, where it was a little bit tough. So I just want to encourage you that you can do that. You can do that. I would love to know if you've been through stage 2 before. Have you got up on stage and played music for people before? I'd love to know, especially if you've been doing it for a while, but even if you just started out, I'd love to know, what was your first gig and how old were you when you did that gig? I think that might be encouraging for people to see that everyone had to start somewhere. So if you could just let me know, write them in the comments, how old were you and what was your first gig? And maybe if you're up for it, what was it like? Tell us about your experience with that. That would be really, really good. Hey, well, I'm putting together episodes every week. They come out every Monday on YouTube and as a podcast. And they're just short 15 to 20 minute episodes just to help you and encourage you to chase your music dreams, to make music a living, to make being an artist a living. So if you can plug into that every week, I really believe that will help you and encourage you and just give you that little bit of motivation, that little kick that you might need to keep chasing it and to keep doing it. And that would be excellent. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe to the channel so that you know what videos are coming up soon. If you're on a podcast, thank you so much for listening on the podcast. That is awesome. Just a quick review really, really helps me out on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, just to let those platforms know that people are listening and that it's something of value that the people are getting value out of the podcast. That would be really, really good. In the meantime, make some music this week and we'll talk again soon.